Hello, everybody. I am James LaRocca, and I will be your student's math teacher this year. So I teach the 6th grade math class, also known as Math 6, as well as the 7th grade math classes, Math 7 and Algebra 1. The 6th grade math course has always been a very eclectic math class. This is because I know we have students coming from so many diverse backgrounds. We have students coming in from public schools, private schools, homeschooling, virtual schooling, schools from other states. And one of the biggest challenges because of this is trying to find a common ground from which to start from. This is partly why we had the placement test before the school year began, to give me an idea of what the students have learned or what they've been exposed to, and how comfortable and confident they are with the math that they have covered so far. So the 6th grade class will both build off of what they had learned in 5th grade, as far as working with fractions and negatives and just building onto the next stages of that, but also act as an introduction to a variety of other math skills. We will have units covering Introduction to Algebra, where we'll talk about what variables and constants are and how to translate expressions from English to math or vice versa, and some introductory skills on solving equations that we will build upon in 7th grade. We'll also have an introduction to some geometry skills. We'll talk about some of the fundamentals of 1, 2, and 3-dimensional figures, how to find perimeter, area, surface area, and volume, and how to construct and categorize various 2-dimensional shapes, such as working with a protractor or a compass to construct angles and angle bisectors, and discuss categories and qualities of triangles and quadrilaterals and parts of a circle. The last thing we will cover in the school year will be an introduction to statistics and probability, where we will look at concepts like finding the mean, median, mode, and range of a data set. We'll look at various types of graphs and how to know what type of graph to use or how to read various graphs, such as line graphs, bar graphs, histograms, circle graphs, etc., and a basic introduction to probability, things like flipping coins and rolling dice, but also things like the odds of drawing a specific hand of cards from a deck of cards. The bulk of the year will focus on arithmetic skills. So far this year, we've looked at what I refer to as numeration. These are skills like multiples, factors, and divisibility rules, basically how to read and work with numbers at a language level. We've talked about different ways to write numbers. We've talked about using exponents as a way of condensing multiplication, and we're currently looking at prime numbers and how to find prime factors of a number to find things like the greatest common factor or the least common multiple. Moving forward, we'll move on to decimals, integers, fractions, and percents, all skills that we will spend a good deal of time on as they are foundational in moving forward in algebra. So how well a student understands and masters those concepts will play a key role in how I assess their understanding of the material and how they'll be placed in the next year. The way the class works in 6th grade is that I have 2 sections of 6th grade math, one in 2nd hour, one in 5th hour, but they are the same class. They will cover all the same material. The only difference might be the pacing. If one class needs a bit more time or one class is able to move ahead slightly faster. I've tried to place the students in an area where they will be most comfortable so that the students who have had the most experience or exposure to these math skills are together, and the students that have had the least amount of experience or exposure or who just need more time to fully master the skill are in the same class. Hopefully this will create an environment where students are more willing to speak up and ask questions and participate in the class. Participation is the biggest thing for me. I always tell the students, I don't care if you end up getting an A in this class. What I want to know is, are you putting in your best effort? Are you trying? Are you persevering? When you hit a challenge, are you asking for help and working to overcome that challenge? Or are you just sweeping it under the rug and trying to slide below the radar? Those are the things that I care about and the things that I watch for most with students. I always try to praise students whenever they are brave enough to ask a question or to email me outside of class to go over something in a one-on-one Zoom meeting. Those are the skills that I really want to nurture with my students, and I hope to see this reflected in how they do at home. Hopefully, if a student is working on math at home and they hit a struggle, they are more likely to reach out either to me or to a classmate to ask questions, to say, hey, how did this work again? Or can you go over this again? I didn't fully understand this in class. So trying to build those skills and the understanding that, this is something that is difficult, but you can overcome difficult things if you persevere. One thing that will definitely stand out with my class this year is that this is the first year where I am trying to create a more flipped classroom model. So if you've seen my syllabus video that I sent to 6th graders or the email I sent out earlier this year, a lot of the synchronous or face-to-face class time will be spent focusing on questions that students have from the videos or the notes handout, or using that time to practice a skill. My goal is that all of the new information will be coming to them through the videos that I make. Every class period, they will be given access to a video and a notes handout that accompanies the video. Both of these can be found in Schoology in our materials section in special unit folders. So everything right now is in Unit 1, numeration. So all their videos and worksheets are in that folder. My expectation for the students is that they will watch the video, maybe multiple times if need be, and fill out the notes sheet with any fill in the blanks or practice problems and examples that I give them in the video. When they come to me in the next class period, we'll go over the questions that they might have, and then I will give them practice worksheets so they can spend the bulk of the time practicing the skill, now that they've had time to practice it on their own, and time with me to go over questions. Again, my emphasis here is on practicing the skill. I understand that drilling can be very important for learning new math skills, especially things where they're expected to memorize. So we'll have a lot of time spent memorizing exponents, fractions and decimal conversions, metric system units, and conversion factors to go between two units. These are things that we'll work on throughout the year. I often provide PDFs with lists of things to memorize, or we will work on things like Quizlets. I've introduced the sixth graders to Quizlets for exponents, and I will encourage them to make their own Quizlets in the future. These are basically digital flashcards that they can use on their iPads. They provide both, typical flashcard functionality, but also there are games that they can do where they practice matching the cards. So there's lots of things like that that we'll utilize to practice the skills. But again, overall, my goal here is to create a fully flipped classroom so that I'm using as little class time as necessary to do any sort of lecturing. This does mean that I'll be working very hard to film and edit videos and get them out in a timely manner. So for now, I have a schedule set for when the videos will be coming up, but just know that depending on how feasible that becomes in practice, I might be adjusting my schedule in the future to have fewer videos per week or more time spent practicing skills, just to make sure that I am getting the videos out to them as soon as I can. As far as grading goes, all of the notes handouts are not for grades. Those are their own notes for guided study. The practice worksheets will not be graded, but they will be formatively assessed, meaning that I will take a look at them and give students feedback on what they're doing. But it's basically their chance to show me how well they're understanding it just from our one class session in the video. This will allow me to give them feedback as far as what specific skills to work on or any gaps that I'm noticing. The graded material will mostly be the review assignments that will come at the end of each unit and the tests that will follow each unit. Our first test will be coming up on Thursday, September 8th, and I've discussed this with the students that the first test will be done as a class. The objective here is just for them to see what a test will be like, how difficult the problems will be, and how much it will relate to what they have seen in the notes and the review assignments and the practice worksheets. The idea here is that nothing should be a surprise. Everything will be either taken directly from a note handout or worksheet or slightly modified. I might change a number here or there. But my goal here is to make this as low stress as possible. The idea should be that if you have been keeping up with the class, if you've been doing the note, if you've been watching the videos, filling out the notes, handouts, and participating in class with the practice worksheets, you should be fine on the test. The first test, again, we will do as a group. We'll go over the answers together as a group. And as I told the kids, you're basically guaranteed 100% on the very first test, as long as you are actively participating in the test and writing things down. From the second unit on, everything will be much more independent. So they'll have their first independent test at the end of the second unit, which will be later in September. My primary expectations for the students is that they are learning how to be middle school students, learning how to stay organized, learning how to keep up with a work and study schedule, knowing how to submit their homework online and keeping up with when things are due. I've tried to keep everything as easy access as possible as far as Schoology goes. They have a weekly schedule document on the Schoology page that I'll update every week, so they will know what are we doing in class today, what is the homework that was assigned today, and any videos or worksheets they need to do will be linked in the document. So they'll be able to go from the document directly into the appropriate folder with the worksheet or the video. Another concern that parents often have is calculator expectations. So again, as I say in the syllabus video, and I give some examples in there, I strongly recommend you check that out. All students will be expected to get a calculator. While a graphing calculator is not required for sixth grade, it is strongly encouraged because they will be required in seventh grade. And if a student can take care of their calculator, then that'll save you the cost of buying a second calculator. But if that's just not a feasible option right now, then a scientific calculator will be perfectly fine. TI-30X calculators tend to run around $30. I also do have a small class set of calculators that students can use if need be. I I've seen everything from I left my calculator at home to I forgot to charge my calculator to the finals show up and I don't have a calculator because I've been sharing a calculator with my older sibling. So, I know these things happen. So I have a class set just in case. But I do encourage students to get their own calculator to learn the ins and outs of their calculator so that when a test rolls around, they are familiar with their technology and not using it for the first time. I also strongly recommend that students write their name on their calculator, preferably with a permanent marker on both the calculator itself and the cover, not just one or the other, just to be on the safe side. Your student also received a 6th grade math textbook called Envision Math. Just know that while I will use this textbook as a guideline for the direction of the course and the material we cover, I don't tend to assign homework from the book. I am much more in favor of worksheets as it allows me to give students space to work and allows me to cherry pick the problems from the book that I prefer or to write my own problems. So I tend to use the book as a supplementary guide. I will recommend students look at certain pages if they have questions about something or they want some more practice. But overall, the book is primarily there as a resource if needed. I also want to strongly encourage you to reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns, whether it's about your student's performance or anything about how the class is structured or any expectations. You can reach me at my Seabury email address. I try to be very responsive when it comes to emails and get back to you, within a day if at all possible. Again, I want to welcome you. If you're a new family to Seabury, welcome to Bishop Seabury Academy. If you're a returning family, then it's good to see you again, and I look forward to working with another one of your students. And I know that this is going to be, a rough year for 6th graders, for students just in general, and just know that I will do everything I can to be supportive of students. And I thank you all for your support and being flexible with us as well. I'll tell you, this is going to be my 5th year at Seabury, and I can't imagine a better school, a better community, and so much of that is thanks to you all. Bishop Seabury Academy, we have the best families, and I look forward to getting to meet all of you in the future. Thank you for everything you do, and thank you for your support, and here's to a great school year. Take care, everybody, and again, feel free to reach out anytime. Have a good day.